Have you ever been asked to leave everything you know behind? I mean, everything. Today we're diving into one of the most pivotal stories of faith ever told. The moment a man named Abram was called to just walk away from his entire world for a future he couldn't even imagine. This is that story. And it all starts with this one life-altering command. Just imagine hearing these words. This isn't a gentle nudge. It's a direct order to cut ties with your identity, your security, your whole past. And for what? For a destination that's only described as the land I will show you. Talk about a leap of faith. The stakes are just incredibly high from the very first sentence. Okay, so to really feel the weight of this, we need to get a picture of who Abram was before this happened. Because, this wasn't a call that came to some guy with nothing to lose. It was the exact opposite. Yeah, so let's get rid of any idea that Abram was leaving some desolate backwater. Haran was a bustling, prosperous city. It was a major hub for trade. He was established. He had a life. He had connections. He had security. This was home, a place of comfort and predictability. And then there's this. Abram was 75 years old. I mean, come on, this wasn't some young guy looking for an adventure. This is a man at an age when most people are settling down for good, not packing up to move to who knows where. To start a journey like this at 75, that takes a level of trust that's just off the charts. But saying yes to this call, well, it came at a huge personal cost. It's one thing to hear a command like that. It's a whole other thing to actually take that first step out the door. And this really lays out the radical trade he was making. On one side, you have everything that defined him, his country, his community, his family legacy, all real, tangible things. And on the other side, a giant question mark, an unknown land, an uncertain future, and the only thing holding it all together was a single promise from God. So if the sacrifice was that big, you'd better believe the promise had to be monumental. And it absolutely was. This wasn't some vague hope. It was a specific, detailed covenant that would literally change the course of human history. Let's just walk through this for a second. First, from this one man and his wife who couldn't have children, God promises a great nation. Wow. Second, he says, I will make your name great. His legacy would be famous. Third, he wouldn't just get blessings, he would be a blessing to others. And finally, the whole thing goes global. Through him, the entire world would be blessed. That is just a staggering vision. And here's the part that changes everything. This promise wasn't based on Abram being perfect. It was unconditional. Its success rested entirely on God's faithfulness to his word, not on Abram's ability to get it all right. Now that is a powerful foundation to stand on when you're walking into the unknown. So, armed with this incredible, unconditional promise, Abram actually does it. He takes the first step. And that abstract promise now has to be walked out, quite literally, on a long, hard journey. And just to put this into perspective, we're talking about a trip of roughly 700 kilometers. That's about 435 miles. This isn't a weekend road trip. This was a massive undertaking. This timeline gives us a little taste of the whole ordeal. It started with that gut-wrenching departure from everything he knew. The journey itself? Probably 1 to 2 months, all on foot, with his family, his livestock, everything they owned. And finally, they arrive at Shechem, right in the heart of this new promised land. And what's the very first thing he does? Not build a house, not look for water. He builds an altar. His first act in this new place was an act of worship. It was his way of saying thank you and of publicly planting a flag of faith in the God who had led him there. So, why are we still telling this story thousands of years later? That brings us to the most important part. What does Abram's journey have to teach us right here, right now? The whole story is really trying to answer this one huge question. Abram's life becomes a living, breathing blueprint for what it looks like to step out in faith, especially when the path ahead is totally unclear. So what are the takeaways? Well, first, true faith will always ask us to leave our personal hair-in, our comfort zone. Second, faith isn't just a feeling, it's an action, it's obedience. Third, it's God's promises that give us the fuel to face the unknown. Fourth, our own journey of faith can create ripples that bless countless others. And finally, the future God is calling us to is always worth more than the past we're tempted to cling to. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The call of faith is basically a call to make a trade. to give up all our false securities, our plans, our careers, our reputation, for the only true security, which is trusting in the future that God has promised. And that really leaves us with a final thought. If Haran represents any place of comfort or false security that's holding us back, then the question for every single one of us is a deeply personal one. What Haran is God calling you to leave behind?